It had been a pretty active day, so we left Segesta and drove to nearby Erice. As I mentioned earlier, I had stayed here for about 3 weeks near the end of my PhD program at the University of Texas. For years, I would reminisce to Vicky about what a magically beautiful place it was. So, thoughtful gal that she is, she made reservations for us at a B&B in Erice. It was not out of our way, and Vicky wanted to give me a treat by providing the opportunity to revisit this place that I had described in such glorious terms. But contrary to our hopes and expectations, it turned into a real nightmare. Erice is a medieval village atop a mountain near the west coast of Sicily. It is picturesque beyond description, but because it was built in a time before automobiles existed, many of its so-called streets are little more than narrow alleyways. They are barely sufficient for the smallest cars, and are completely impassable for anything larger, such as the compact rent car we were driving. Vicky and I were about to learn this lesson in the most unforgettably painful way. We had followed the tortuous mountain road up to the lovely town, enjoying the spectacular view all the while. As we first entered Erice, our GPS began spewing directions involving incomprehensible Italian street names where we were supposed to turn in order to get to our B&B. When we missed the prescribed turn, the GPS gave us new directions that presumably would get us back on the right track again. Only in this case, the street she told us to take was uncomfortably narrow. Nevertheless, placing our confidence in our trusted digital navigator, we proceeded down the street. One of the locals gestured at us, apparently letting us know that the street was narrow. Well, we could see that that was the case, but I still had a few inches of clearance on either side of the car. And besides, the GPS said to do this, so we continued. But as we drove further and further down this so-called street, it got narrower and narrower. Before long, I had no recourse but to continue driving forward. Damn it! Backing up for a considerable distance with no more than an inch or so of clearance was unthinkable. Shit! I felt a ray of hope when I saw what appeared to be some sort of intersection ahead of us. Ah, fuck! But when we reached it, it turned out to be a hard right angle turn. There was absolutely no physical possibility that the car could do it. Fuck! And when I tried to maneuver the car to attempt the turn, I heard a metallic crunch. Obviously, in making the effort, we had damaged the rent car. God damn it! Now what? Now I was panicking. I had already dented our rent car. There seemed to be no way to extricate ourselves from this situation. Could things be any worse? Left with no other options, Vicky and I tried cautiously and very slowly to back the car down the street to a point where we could at least turn it around. I frequently had to ride the clutch, otherwise the car would roll forward the moment I took my foot off the brake, causing even more damage. God damn it! I can't stand this! Fuck! God damn it! Finally, a friendly older man who lived on the street offered to help. After backing his own car out of his tiny driveway to make room, he backed our rent car into the space and got it pointed the other way. At that point we thanked him, and I drove out the rest of the way down the street and back out to the main road that we'd come into town on. There was no consideration now of trying to find our B&B. We gave that up, writing off the money we'd lose on canceling the 2-night reservation. And Vicky quickly found us a room in a B&B in nearby Trapani. We didn't fret for long about the damage to the car, content to let it go and just enjoy ourselves while we were on vacation. But Trapani was a pretty unappealing town. It seemed a bit dingy and there was nothing there to interest us. For instance, it required considerable effort to find a restaurant where we wanted to eat, though we did finally succeed in getting a good dinner. What's more, the B&B Vicky had hastily found us was also not to our liking. It was nice enough, but we needed keys for 4 separate doors in order to access our room. It was a little confusing to say the least. Under the circumstances, Vicky changed our reservation from 2 nights in Trapani to just 1, again sacrificing the money for the second night, and instead changed our reservations at the B&B in Agrigento from 2 to 3 nights. So our plan now was to drive to Selinunte tomorrow. This was an archaeological site we knew nothing about, and then head on to Agrigento where we would spend the night. Thus we had a stressful and somewhat unhappy conclusion to our 3rd day in Sicily. Vicky and I later learned that our incident with the rent car had caught the attention of the local community. The people living in Erice have a somewhat different account of the events, however. We obtained an interview, a segment of an interview with one of the local residents who claims to have observed our efforts to extract the car from the street in Erice, and well, it's become kind of a local legend for them, as you will see in this next video segment.
We people of Erice will never forget the American couple that visited our quiet village recently. We will always remember them driving like crazy through our streets, brutally destroying their lovely little rent car. The reason they did it is a mystery. The little car was so pretty, and at first, we thought the Americans liked it. But instead, they seemed to have a violent hatred for the car. It was not just a simple automobile accident. Some of us heard them as they made their plans to crash the car. It was so horrible. I saw the American man drive the car at a high speed into a wall, while the woman laughed.